Welcome back. Today is Thrive Thursday, and we are looking at 5 practical tools that you can use to rebuild trust with yourself. So, if you don't trust yourself very much right now, you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you, but you're likely feeling discouraged. And self trust, as we talked about on Monday, can erode quietly. And so we need to remember that it rebuilds quietly too. So let's look at some tools of how we can build it. Tool number 1 is to be aware and catch the rumination loop. So self-trust collapses when rumination turns into our identity. So instead of saying, I always mess up, you can remind yourself that I'm in a rumination or I'm stuck in that overthinking loop. So label the state, not yourself. And this helps create emotional distance, and distance from that narrative and that potential thought turning into a belief can reduce shame. Tool number 2 is what we call the 1% action. So when mood is low, motivation drops. So we don't want to put too much pressure on ourselves or aim for overhaul. Let's just start small and aim for 1%. So instead of fix my routine and I'm going to start doing things different, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do all the things, you can start with one small thing. So instead of putting pressure on yourself to change your routine and get more structure and get more things done and to be more productive, you might reframe that. What's 1% more that I can do to move towards my goal? So it might be send one email, fold 5 items of clothing from the laundry basket, walk for 3 minutes, and then check in with myself. If I'm doing well, then I can add more. Instead of saying I'm going to walk for an hour each day, start with a few minutes and build 1% increase of behavioral changes from there. So small actions can restore agency, right? And agency can restore trust. Tool number 3 is the evidence log. So your brain remembers failures more than effort. It's just how we're rigged. So to really look at the evidence, we need to record the effort. So asking yourself, what did I do today, even though I was having a tough day, or even though I was struggling, what did I accomplish? So some examples can be, I showed up to work, even though I had a hard time getting out of bed. I responded kindly, even though I was a little bit frustrated by my colleague. Or I gave myself a rest when I got home from work because I really needed it. So trust builds when evidence accumulates. So looking at the evidence of what you did do instead of looking at what you see as failures of what you didn't do. Tool number 4 is the self-trust micro, which means really tiny, promise. So make one promise so small that you can't fail it. You can't mess it up. So drink 1 glass of water instead of 3 liters a day. Go to bed 10 minutes earlier instead of an hour earlier. Text the person back. Then you keep doing those small things, and then trust is built through keeping commitments to yourself and to others. We don't have to reinvent ourselves dramatically. We just need to trust ourselves in the little things that we're doing. And the last tool is compassionate accountability. So instead of sloughing it off when we feel bad and saying, it just doesn't matter, or I'm terrible, you can try, well, to be honest, that didn't quite align with who I want to be, so I'm going to make some adjustments. You don't collapse and be really hard on yourself. You don't avoid and do nothing. You just do acknowledging and a small correction. That's maturity. That's facing the things that you want to be different. That is building trust within yourself. Now, why does this matter? Well, over the last few weeks, we've looked at some of these areas. So this is a bit of a recap. Mindfulness helps you notice when you drift. Gratitude can protect your perspective. Self-compassion can prevent collapse. But self-trust is what sustains the changes you make. Without trust, you end up abandoning yourself. And with trust, you stay. You stay true to who you are. So I want you to just consider this little reflection question. Where in my life have I quietly stopped trusting myself? And what is one small promise that I can keep this week? We're not aiming for perfection. We are partnering with ourselves to increase the evidence and the ability and the capacity to trust ourselves. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week when we're going to kind of look at sustainable ways to kind of stay emotionally steady, right? Because so far we've looked at mindfulness, gratitude, self-compassion. We looked at attachment a couple weeks ago, repair, self-trust. Now we're going to sort of capture it all and integrate it all and kind of have a final week to wrap all of this up. So I really hope you'll join me. Thank you so much for being here. You got this. I will see you next week.